was helping people. I loved my job. It was pretty cool. I liked what I was doing. And I'll never forget this one call I've got. And I've gotten a lot of calls in my 20-plus years because I've gone from front lines to supervisor, manager, director. That's a lot of people, a lot of complaints, a lot of issues. But this call I will always remember because it really changed the way I thought about service. This woman calls up and she says, I'm coming to a game. I have directions on how to get to your facility, but I don't know how to get home. So I sat there for a second and I thought to myself, I said, that is a really stupid question. That's the dumbest question I've heard all day for sure. But rather than say that, again, I was only probably 22, rather than say that to the customer, I asked the question. I said, well, which game are you coming to? And we talked a little bit. And I was able to find out that she was coming to a game in 2 nights. She was bringing her young son and some friends to celebrate his birthday. And there was a snowstorm in the forecast. So she was a little nervous. So basically what she was saying is, I need to know how to get home because I'm not going to be able to read my directions backwards in a snowstorm with 5 hyped up boys in the backseat of my car. So we went through the call with her. We talked together for about 20 minutes. And during the time we were on the phone, I realized that I was basically reassuring her, and she was feeling better about the experience. When we were done with the call, she had turn-by-turn directions to the facility. She had turn-by-turn directions back. And remember, this is pre-navigation systems. We were using maps back then. But we got her all set up so she knew exactly how to get there, get back, and find some fun things to do while she was at the game during halftime, et cetera. So when I finished that call, I realized that I was in the right job. I was in the right place. I enjoyed helping her. I enjoyed how I felt after I helped her. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was just a conversation. But I felt like I accomplished a lot. And that's how I wound up in this role today because I followed that path on service ever since. What I'm going to do today and tomorrow, I'm going to talk about some best practices that we have from our clients, our consulting clients all over the country and the world. My job is so great. I get to work every day with some super intelligent, very passionate people within their industries and help them affect change, like Denise mentioned. And it's such a great learning experience for me, and I enjoy it so much. So what I'm going to be doing is sharing some of the best practices that they have enacted over the last 12 months or so. So let's talk about a best practice. We're going to start with service vision. It's number one. It's number one for a reason. It's the first commandment. The reason it's number one is because it's your compass. It's what we need to follow. It's what we are telling our employees we need to do. Now, quite simply, it is the what we want to be, how we want to be known. We'll talk about in a few minutes the pillars that support it. They are the how. They tell our employees how to do it. But I want to give you a great example of a service vision. This comes to us from our friends at RPM Pizza. Now, as John alluded to, they are the largest franchise of Domino's pizzas in the country. They are based in Gulfport, Mississippi. They operate in 3 states, and they have over 3,000 employees. That's a lot of people to train. Their service vision I love because it's so simple and yet so effective. Creating smiles by making lives easier. Let's think about the ordering pizza process for a second, right? First of all, we order pizza to be delivered. Why? Because it's easy. Everyone loves pizza, right? You don't have to have an argument. I don't want Chinese. I want this. I don't want that. You just got to figure out a couple of toppings and order your pizza and have it delivered. Simple. The second thing is it gives you time back. When you have that pizza delivered, you're getting 30 minutes to 45 minutes back that you would otherwise be prepping in the kitchen, maybe stopping at the store to pick up some ingredients, possibly even going somewhere to pick up a meal and bring it home. It's getting time back to interact with your family or whatever else is very important to you. So they're making lives easier by what they do. And the Creating Smiles is up there simply to remind all of their 3,000 plus employees that we want you to try and make our customers smile while you're going about your daily lives. While you're doing your business, while you're delivering, while you're taking that order on the phone, while you're doing what you do, make our customers smile, make them happy. Simple thing to do when you think about it, and it's a great way to remind them on a regular basis. Let's talk about the pillars. Now, pillars, there's 3 of them, obviously. They cover 3 topics. The first one is quality. We have to be spot on with quality. Whatever our product is, whether it's pizza, whatever our service is, whether we clean homes, it has to be spot on. We have to master it, because without that, we don't have a quality product. We have really nothing to stand on. But at the same time, we have to have strong customer interaction. This is how we interact with folks. This is how we make our customers feel. And lastly, above and beyond. Now, above and beyond is not going to happen all the time, but we need to train our folks, our team members, to see these opportunities when they can go above and beyond and do something that's going to make that experience very memorable for a customer or a guest and seize that opportunity. Now, one important thing to point out about the pillars, and John alluded to this earlier when he talked about speed of delivery in the RPM example, you can't focus on just one. You have to have all three. They all have to be hitting on all cylinders because one can't survive, one can't push you to the top alone. Because if one is doing really well and you're not focusing on all three, something's going to be lacking and you're going to feel it on the other end. Here's a great example of pillars that we love to use when we're working with our consulting clients. This is from Superior Glove, a glove manufacturer just outside of Toronto that we've been working with as a consulting client. Now, when people see this, they love it. Know it, show it, own it. It's such an effective set of pillars because, A, it's easy to remember. It's really simple to remember, but that's important. We want people to be able to remember what we're trying to teach them here. And at the same time, it's so effective. The first one, know it. It talks about quality, product knowledge. They have to know their inventory. They have to know availability when someone calls in with an order. They have to know their product. The second one is show it. Show our customers how we care, how we feel about them. And the third one, own it. It talks about going above and beyond, but it also talks about dropping the ball. We already talked about this morning. We know we're all going to drop the ball. We're all human. It happens. But where we really separate ourselves is how we fix it. If we have the systems in place to fix it quickly and make it an exceptional experience for the guest, quite honestly, sometimes dropping the ball allows us to make it a better experience than it would have been otherwise, to make it more memorable. So that's important to remember. This is another great service vision. John talked about Henson First already, and I'm going to show you their new video in just a second here. They created this Create Peace of Mind. And remember, as John talked about, their clients have big questions, right? They're personal injury attorneys. They have questions like, when will this be done? When will this be resolved? Questions they don't have answers to. So what they needed to do was to train their folks, whether it's attorneys or support staff, train their folks to focus on that moment in time, to focus on being compassionate and trying to help that person along the process. They recently completed their Day in the Life video. The Day in the Life video is a fantastic tool. It kind of brings everything together once you complete your service vision and your pillars so that you can roll it out to your organization and really have an emotional tie to what you're trying to teach them throughout the training. We're going to talk about Commandment Number 8, creating an above and beyond culture. Now, creating above and beyond culture, the companies that do it, that can really do it well, what they're actually doing is they're storytelling. They have become great storytellers. And why is that important? Because we need to share the good news. We need to make sure that all of our employees need to know how we want them to behave and who's doing it, how they're doing it, so that everyone can emulate that. I'm sure we're all guilty of it. I know I was when I was managing and directing a call center. You get a great email from a client or from someone out on the road or whatever the case may be. So-and-so did such a great job. You read it, you're like, all right, that's awesome. And then the next email comes in and says, where are your numbers for this week? And the next one comes in and says, how about your monthly budget? You didn't hit this number. And then another email comes in. Next thing you know, it's at the bottom of your inbox, and you never see it again. And you never did anything with it. So what above and beyond cultures do is they create the systems so that they can celebrate these stories. Whatever works for your organization, whether you get an email like that and you fire it off to someone who collects all the stories, whether you upload it to an intranet, whatever works for you, we want to make sure that we are keeping these stories, we're celebrating them, because we have to tell all of our folks, right? For two reasons. First, we want to celebrate what the person did. We want them to know they did a job well done. Way to go. And what we're also doing is telling everybody else, we like this. This is what we want you to do. This is great behavior. And eventually, it may take some time for some folks, but they'll pick it up and they'll keep going and they'll learn it and people will jump on board. Or you'll find out maybe they're really not meant to be in that department. Maybe it's not their calling. A couple of great examples. Superior Glove just initiated their Golden Glove Award. It was given out in June, I believe, was the first time. They had a fantastic story. They have a plant in Newfoundland, which, if you know your geography, that's about as far east as you can get in Canada. So it's pretty remote. They needed to get some sleeves. They create gloves, they manufacture gloves, but also protective arm sleeves. They needed to get some sleeves to a client in Nashville. They were running late. They had a crew come in, a crew of 4, create these sleeves overnight. The customer needed them the next day for a shoot. This person got on a plane, there was no other way to get him there, got on a plane and got himself to Nashville in time, which is not an easy thing to do from Newfoundland, and delivered it to the customer so they can go on with their shoot that they already invested a lot of money in to have it happen. A great story. Our friends at the Maids do a lot of great things as well. They have created the Golden Apron. Now this is still being tweaked a little bit, but the intent here is so that people can be celebrated on the local level. So in each location, someone who does a job very well gets recognized at the local level, and they have it for a week or a month, whatever we deem. They also have a great way to recognize folks. They have a system in place where either a supervisor, a team lead, or a fellow employee can write down a great thing they saw and enter it. They recently unveiled the National WOW Award. Now this is an award that is giving out quarterly, and it covers their entire company, so all of the United States and Canada. Now, I wanted to share with you a couple of stories. I was lucky enough to be on the committee that reviewed the stories. There were 55 applicants, let's say, for this first award. And these stories were fantastic. I actually read them on a plane, and I got off that plane, I was feeling so good about humanity. I was like, this is great. These stories are wonderful. And seriously, 12 of those could have easily won. Easily won. There was one story where a team was driving down the road, and they saw a toddler just kind of wandering down the street, and they stopped. They made sure the toddler was okay, got him to safety, and then made sure everything was fine, and went about their business.